So in chapter 8, we're going to discuss the final and the first principle marketing. All resources are limited. So overall, we're going to discuss different approaches and used to manage resource trade-offs and how to identify marketing metrics and what is the framework for managing resource trade-offs. Because all resources are limited, that's why we have one concept called resource slack. So what is the resource slack? Refer to the potentially utilizable resources a firm can use and to relocate to other different marketing activities or other different business, not only refer to marketing activities in order to maximize and the organizations and final target. And the fourth and the first principle marketing and try to determine the annual budget and to specific marketing actions because this is marketing strategy. So what we care and about how to allocate resources to different marketing activities, right? In particular, any company needs to balance marketing resources across and first principle marketing and targeting and positioning and customer and life cycle stages like acquisition, expansion, and retention, and how to create customer equity like brand, offering, and relationships. Not only to consider and current and project at the same time, and the company will have to think about the future, how to allocate their resources in order to develop a new product. This will be related to research and development, right? We said this and decision made through first principle marketing all and will be related to number 4, first principle of marketing. All resources are limited. Any company has limited resources. If you have unlimited resources, you don't need to make a decision right then. You can get whatever you want and set the target whatever you want. In reality, all resources are limited. That's why make it tough and to decide and which approach you need to choose and which direction you will need to go, right? So usually, how does a company allocate their resources? And through portfolio models. This portfolio model is developed by Boston Consulting Groups based on 2 dimensions, market growth rate and relatively market share. So then you can get 4 different areas, question mark, stars, cash cows, and dogs. So the right this and the table shows and if for any big company, there are multiple and units. Each unit is operating different business right then. For those units such as 9 and 7, 8 in the cash cows, mainly they generate profits or cash for the company to be allocated to other areas like star 5, 6 or question marks 1, 2, 3, 4. But of course, no any company will allocate their resources to any units in the dogs. So this is how the cash and flows among the company. And first, any and units in the cash cows generate cash and profit. The actual cash will be used and to make investment in any other units in the question marks or stars. If any business unit in the question marks, which means the future is uncertain. This and unit may go into stars or may go into the dogs. So if the company can accurately predict it, they may make more investment for any units in the question marks. But the company is not sure, and of course they will not make any further investment for any and business units in the question marks. But for any other business units and in stars and their high possibility to become a future and cash cows, that's why no matter what, the company will allocate more resources to any business units in the star and area. And for the dog area, of course, the company and will exist and from a market, so they will reduce all expenditures for business in the dog area. What different approaches and used for managers and resource trade-offs, and there are two different time periods. First, heuristic error and data error. And in the heuristic error, you can see, and when any managers make their decision, they don't use much and data. So they develop acres like advertising, sales force, how much they should allocate resources to each acre. Then, based on the marketing outcomes, market share, and customer loyalty, then they will adjust their original decision. Oh, they made the wrong decision on the advertising. They allocate too much on advertising, less on the sales force, then they will make adjustment based on the marketing outcome. But now we said these trends have changed dramatically. Why this trend has changed? Because most company they use more information technology, right? Then they have a huge data to use through their customer relationship management, and customers are also sophistication. So they are smart nowadays, right? Yeah? So that's why it's difficult to predict. And mathematical model also become more and more popular, and globalization make it very competitive. Because before you make any decision, you have to predict and make sure your decision will be as accurate as possible. And how to make a relatively more accurate decision and enter into that and error. And before now, you have set of decision, but nobody knows the result outcome. But you can use the simulation and model, experiment or response model. This simulation and model help you to test and what's the possible outcome of your decision. So this way can help you to reduce the risk and uncertainty, right? So no matter which system and a manager will use to allocate resources, overall requirement for decision making should be simple enough and for other managers understand the principle of making this decision. Also should be sophisticated to adjust time and change, because all the decisions are interdependent, not separate right there. So if possible, and if you can find that support, that will be the best. But the best method try to make optimal allocation of your resources across different decisions. No matter which system, which method you are going to use to allocate your resources, and you try to make the optimal allocation. So in the first stage, like we said, heuristics and error. Most managers use anchoring and adjusting heuristic approach. This based on exact and anchoring rules that vary in practice. For example, okay, it's reasonable to set the target as a 5% profit increase. Or you allocate your resources to match with your competitor spreading. So you can find a number right there and to match and give you an anchor. Then you accordingly you will make your decision. And more recently, most people use attribution approach, specify attribution model with identified factors. For example, you identify advertising, sales commissions, and physical logistics or management, other different factors. Then accordingly allocate resources to optimize the desired outcome. There are two different attribution approach, experimental-based attribution approach and the response model attribution approach. We said if you decide to use experimental-based attribution, you will need to identify and which factor contribute to your outcome. But in reality, many firms operate in the environment and with various factors and operate at the same time simultaneously right now. So the problem is to decide which factor contribute more, which factor contribute less, and then you want to test. So this way you may assume, and all based on the evidence, you identify a factor contribute most and to your profit. Then you need to decide whether to commit resources and how much and to commit. Then you identify a test variable and how to test whether and your prediction is right through the experimental attribution approach. The three and key elements and your tested variable and tested factor you identified, and what the outcome need to be calculated, and a control condition. You don't need to make any change with your current and model current decision. So you want to see whether your identified factor contribute more or less. Then keep all other factors constant and at least under the firm's control right now. So response model is statistics model. We said use the relationship between past marketing resources and past outcome to predict and future resource and allocations. So if in the past you build and relatively reasonable relationship between your past marketing resources and past outcomes, maybe you can use this and model to predict your future resource allocation right now. So what is the underlying philosophy for this approach? And assume historical data and can provide you insightful information about whether and how much marketing resources truly increase your outcomes. If in the past the marketing resources can truly increase the outcomes, and that means and you can and use the similar model to predict or to allocate resources for future marketing actions. We said then it's simple and this model, but there are some advantage and disadvantage. What are the advantage? Once model is built, then optimize for the objective. Yeah, because that model is reliable and can be used to predict the future and resource allocation. But what a disadvantage? And so anything may work in the past, but may not work and in the future, right then, because the environment may be different. Environment may change dramatically. You cannot guarantee something works and worked in the past, but will absolutely work in the future, right? So I've just gave you use your example to explain how to use response model, and you can see at first you will need to build the response model, and from average salesperson answer the 4 questions. What would sales of this account be if? So assume you have 4 customers and if you don't visit and your customers, what would be a sale and what will be the sales? If you visit a customer the same as last period, and what will be the sale? If you visit an account or your customer and 50 more than last period, or you visit your customer as frequently as possible, and what will be the sales look like, right? Then you establish the model. But what we said, our resources are limited based on this model. Salespeople have limited time. They cannot work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? Then they have limited time. Their time is constrained here, decide and how many times they will visit account 1, how many times they will visit account 2, how many times they will visit account 3, account 4, and accordingly right there. So that's why based on their limited time, but they want to maximize the outcome and make a optimal and decision. And for example, and how to and what is the framework and for managing and number 4, first principle of the marketing, and how to manage and resource and trade-offs and you need the input, 3 inputs. Those inputs are the first 3 principle and first and principal marketing. So persisting statement, you did segmenting, targeting, persisting. And in the second stage, all and customer change, right? Then you develop acquisition, expansion, and retention strategy, and BOR strategy, brand offering, and relationship strategy. These are the outputs. And through those outputs, and you develop the model, which approach you are going to use. Heuristic approach or attribution and approach. You can choose one. And then have outcome, plans, and budgets. What's the marketing plan eventually? And how much budget you will need for this marketing plan? And how to measure the success of your marketing plan based on what kind of metrics that could be, and marketing metrics and financial metrics. We said both marketing and financial metrics are important. So, and when you decide what kind of marketing metrics you need, you may consider these 3 P's, and what people and place, and physical promotion, and process, and price, and product. We said people and place, and provide and insight for the relationship equity. Physical and promotion, and provide insight for the brand equity. Process and price, product, and provide insights for value equity. And all this equity will help you and measure service quality and customer satisfaction. Eventually, and company will care about customer loyalty, right? They want to develop loyal customers and with their current customers, because this customer loyalty will directly determine the financial metrics like sales and growth and cost and profits, right there. Then how to choose and marketing metrics. What is marketing metrics? The measure of a quantitative value or trend of marketing activity. So what can be the and marketing metrics? So you need to choose specific metrics for what you want to control, right? And based on your project, you need to control. But some are common, like brand, and you need to measure awareness, quality, strength, offering, innovativeness, adoption rates, price premium, and value. If relationship is the focus, and loyalty to salespeople, trust, commitment, and relationship quality, and if you care about the new customer recruitment, maybe or the number of new customers, customer lifetime value or durations, and if you care about customer retention, and what's the lost customers, and what's the churn and rate, and that's depending on and what's the focus of your marketing plan. Then accordingly you will choose specific marketing metrics to measure them. So once you identify some specific marketing metrics, and you need to identify most critical metrics to form a dashboard. So what is the marketing dashboard? The similar as the dashboard, the car dashboard when you drive the car. And there are some and a few critical indicators to tell you whether it's safe to drive, what's your speed, what's the oil level, whether you need to refill, right? Then what's the condition of your cars. So a few metrics will tell you whether you are safe now to drive the car, right? Now we said customer loyalty become more and more important for most companies to use, and also it's a great success determinant for the company, because customer loyalty can clearly give warning of expanding problems or opportunities. And you can see if the customer loyalty is low, of course, there are some potential problem need to be solved. If customer loyalty is high, what's the opportunity to use your customer loyalty to increase and recruit your new customers, right? Then How to measure and customer loyalty? Most time through the Net Promoter and score. We are going to discuss more on this later. There are different ways and to collect data about the Net and Promoter score: face-to-face survey, online survey, or mail survey. But nowadays, and most popular way is to use online survey. We said Net Promoter Score is only one item. Most companies use one item to measure the Net Promoter and score. How likely is that you would recommend the company or the product to a friend or colleague based on the 10 to 0 score? If the percentage of customers and who choose answer 9 or 10, then they are promoters. And if participants and choose answer 0 to 6, that means they are detractors. And the percentage of the promoter is higher, which means the company is very successful, and they maybe enjoy the world class and quality. Right then, they have an opportunity to recruit and more customers. So this number can directly link to the profitable and growth. We said there are some advantage and disadvantage to use only Net Promoter Score and to determine the customer loyalty, because advantage is simple and good, only single item right there, easy to use. But the disadvantage may not be true loyalty. When your participants, they may not be true loyalty, and their score, so they are loyal customers, but in reality, they may not be your true and loyal customers, right? So the growth by word of mouth or network promoter, you can see, in the airline companies, American Airlines, the growth by word of mouth is the highest as compared to other airline companies. In a car rental company like Enterprise, relatively higher than other companies and Avis, right? So what are the benefits of a customer loyalty? We said, loyal customers tend to spend more over time, and they are more willing to pay price and premium. And there is a low cost to maintain loyal customers as compared to recruiting new customers, and they are more likely to spread word of mouth to other people. And they have very strong positive effect on customer life value. And imagine loyal customers, through their lifetime value, they will contribute more to the company as compared to other non-loyal customers, right? But we said there are so many benefits of the customer loyalty, but at the same time, company will have to be very careful. Some measure of the loyalty are misleading. And for example, like we said, Net Promoter Score, that is a great measure of customer loyalty, but also some people answer the score with 9, 10. They may not be the true and loyal customers, you can see. And there are some latent loyalty and spirituals and loyalty, although they are loyalty, but that's not true loyalty. And latent loyalty may answer 9 or 10, but actually they don't buy the product, right? And the spirituals and loyal customers, and they may also answer 9 or 10, but actually they have negative attitude toward the company. They will not spread the word of mouth in reality. So then how to choose financial metrics and use aggregate financial metrics, and mainly use 3 financial metrics. Net marketing contribution, which means what's the profit contributed by this marketing activity or by this marketing play after all the cost of sales and marketing. And marketing return on sales. What's the portion of the sales to profit? So in the first step, identify the net marketing contribution and profit. You use that number and divide it by sales and times 100%, right? Then that is the sales to profit. Marketing and return on investment, which means what is the earnings for every $1 invested in sales and marketing. So this use the net profit, the net marketing contribution divided the cost of the sales and marketing times 100%. This will tell you the efficiency of the resource allocation or the effectiveness of this marketing plan.